It's showtime.
Just a couple of dudes hanging out in their bedrooms in different states.
Couple lunch pail guys from the Midwest.
Just talking about Survivor and how they would be really good at it if they ever got the call.
Okay, one of us says that. One of us does not say that.
What about a Survivor season where it's like a blood versus water, where one person is really gung-ho about playing Survivor, and they bring on their begrudging partner.
Friend who knows he's going to be bad at it and resents them because he has to work out for like 6 months before doing it.
I think it's a great idea. Put me on the show, the producing side, but also the Castaway side. I should do the Castaway thing before the producing thing. Is that a conflict of interest, though? If I go on to be a producer, if I've played the game, or is that what they want? I don't know the law. Ask your roommate.
Yeah, Patrick's not here right now. Otherwise, I'd ask him.
Okay.
Get our legal expert on it.
It's called a forward promo. So next week we'll find out if there's a conflict of interest there. Hey, welcome to Did You Watch Survivor Last Night? This is a podcast about reality television and friendship in which I ask my best friend, Thomas Powell, if he did indeed watch a certain reality show. Hey, Thomas, how you doing today?
I'm good, Jake.
That's
March
good.
Madness, baby. I've got it.
It's here. Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that movie, Miss March? Well, call me Mr. March.
Oh, hi, March.
Because that's the month that it is right now. And
Mr. WrestleMania,
it was a
that's
reference
what they
that
call
I
me.
made. This is the kind of humor you can expect from us, is referencing things. And then you remember them, and that's funny.
That is funny. We are the most relatable Survivor podcast. It's our new brand. And it's also been our tagline the entire time. So it's not new at all.
We've been saying it.
We've been saying
Many
it.
are saying, and
a
you
lot
really
of people
do
are
hear
saying
it.
You're hearing it over and over again.
More and more people are telling you.
Let me tell you, I was thinking about this podcast and that Donald Trump joke that we always do, because I was listening to some podcast about him. It was about the news, it wasn't about him. I was like, man, I feel like we should stop doing that joke, because I want to stop joking about Donald Trump. I hope it doesn't come up.
It'll never stop coming up. We all have brainworms. We all have brainworms from him being our president. We just have to embrace it.
It hasn't stopped. It won't stop. It's not going to stop.
Many are saying that it is continuing to go more and more.
Anyway, talk about people we want to see go extinct.
Did you
see
segue. Any of this shit from the fucking insane CPAC speech that he gave where he...
I didn't know he was at CPAC.
Hey,
you know who's friends with Mike Pence, who might have been at CPAC?
Who's that?
Rupert Bonham, who has played Survivor. Hey, Thomas, did you watch Survivor Edge of Extinction last night?
I may have. The only thing I was going to say from that was he said that,
oh my God.
He said that there was a general, in like the thing that he'll usually do where he talks about how attractive all the generals are, where he said there's a general named Raisin Cane. Yeah, like raisin, like the dried fruit. And he said that, he's like, I asked him again if that was his name, and he was like, yeah, and I was like the fruit? The only thing that happens when you search Raisin Cane is Google will go, did you mean Raising Cane's? The chicken place that is a chain in, I believe, the southern and western United States.
Why are we talking about this?
Why do we talk about anything?
All right, well, this episode of Survivor was called One of Us is Going to Win the War, which is a quote from Kelly Wentworth in regards to her blossoming feud with Wendy. Is this foreshadowing?
I was wondering what was happening there. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Whatever.
It is. Great words. Okay, we start off on the edge of extinction, which I guess is what they're calling it, not Extinction Island, which was the initial leaked title for this season. Edge of Extinction, I think, is better. Reem is there, and she reads the rules and realizes there's no timeline.
Yep.
I would hate to be Reem.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like much fun to be the only person there.
Yeah.
Fortunately, that's not going to be the case for long.
Hopefully. Over on
Manchester United.
Manchester United. It sounded weird coming out of my mouth. Wendy says she didn't want to side with Kelly and says about her, if you can't do it, then you can't do it. So I think it was a good burn on her. Then Kelly suggests that they go out on an open idol hunt, everybody. I'm telling you, it's going to be Wendy versus Kelly till the end.
Sure.
You seem like you don't believe me.
Maybe it is. It's very early to make that kind of prediction.
This show is all about predictions.
That's true. We do.
This is the most predictable.
We do make a lot of
podcast.
predictions about this. I don't know why I'm so judgmental about that.
Okay. Well, on the Kicking a Man's Ass tribe, Ron suggests that they come up with a tribe cheer for the challenges and then shows them what it would look like. And it involves simulating slapping Aubrey's ass. What?
Yeah, I feel like I might have been half paying attention to this initially, to that part of it. And so yeah, that happened?
Yeah, he does the YMCA but spelling out comma kicking a man's ass.
Kicking a man's ass.
He spells the entire sentence kicking a man's ass and with his arms, and then he Aubrey bends over in front of him and dances around, and he very cartoonish, very animated, swings his arm behind her. It's weird. It's very weird.
It sounds weird.
I would tell you to rewatch that part, but it's going to be as unsettling as my description was.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to.
Okay, anyway, speaking of Aubrey, she goes around kind of giving everyone the same spiel, and they all catch on and talk about it. So, I don't know. Maybe that's not great news for Aubrey.
No, probably not. I mean, you gotta be under the radar as much as possible as one of the returning players.
Yep, that's why David's playing a good game, and he's the only one so far. Although it is only his second time. It's not his third time like the rest of them.
That's true. He's not overthinking it.
Yeah. Over on Manchester United, Rick starts to think that Kelly has the idol. Rick and David tell each other that they trust each other, and they both agree that they like Wendy, so they want to keep her around. Over on Kicking a Man's Ass, everybody is looking for the idol. Over on Manchester United, Lauren finds their idol and says that she's not telling anybody about it, not even Kelly Wentworth.
That's very smart.
Ally.
That
smart.
is what you always should do.
Remember in the preseason when you were like, I don't like Lauren, I don't like this, she's not BYU, what's the, Baylor?
Yes, yeah, Baylor.
She gives me the creeps, but she's playing a pretty good game so far.
We've barely seen anything from her, but she is playing a good game so far. She's not playing as loudly as I thought she would.
Yeah, well, she loves Kelly Wentworth, who plays very loudly. What am I talking about? She's a good player. Sorry. You ever lose your train of thought, but then realize you're in the middle of a sentence and be like, I need to finish this sentence?
That's never happened to me before. I always know exactly what I'm going to say.
I feel
don't ever listen to old podcasts about this. Just assume I'm right.
Okay, so this immunity challenge, they have to carry a snake from a cage. It's not a real snake. I realize in my notes it makes it sound like a real snake.
It would be way cooler if they just had to carry not even a big snake. They had to carry a garden snake.
Especially if the garden snake was still in that cage.
Yeah. No, they carry, it's like a giant pool noodle, basically.
Yeah, it's like a prop. I understand that everything in the challenges is props, But that, like, is so obviously a prop that doesn't really fit in with the aesthetic of any Survivor season.
Yeah.
So I hate it.
I thought it was dumb. And it was a part of one of the many challenges they have where there's just like 5 things that they put together that have no relation to each other.
Yeah. It's another reason I need to be a producer on this show. Better challenges. Do you know that there are people whose sole job on Survivor is, like, building and creating the challenges?
I mean, I assumed.
I guess. Did you know that the crew for Borneo was like 70 people or something, and then like within a few years it became like thousands? I might have my numbers wrong. But
That also makes sense. The production values are a lot higher than they were then.
yeah. Anyway, Survivor's a fascinating show. Thanks for listening to this podcast.
Yeah. In this paper, I will. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Yeah. Okay, they have to carry the snake, and then they have to throw some rings at paddles. Cool. Kicking a man's ass came here to kick men's asses and win immunity challenges, and they continue to do both.
Yeah, they were like my first thought I had during that was like, wow, they really could not have picked a more adequately named tribe.
Seriously.
There's a YouTube channel I watch that does just like wrestling stuff specifically. It's New Legacy Inc. Just goes by NL. It's fun. They just fuck around in wrestling games and are generally pretty funny. But on one of the streams that they were doing recently, because they were the thing that I found out that about comma standing for kicking a man's ass, so they'll reference it every once in a while. But one of the hosts of it was like, oh yeah, they actually have a kicking a man's ass drive on Survivor this season, and I got very excited.
That's amazing. That's great. I've recently found myself watching a lot of What Culture wrestling videos, and I can't tell if I like them or not.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel about that, where they're very polished, like well edited videos, but I don't know if they're actually funny.
Right. It's yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Like, it's very inoffensive, and they seem excited. So it
is content. It's like, wow, this certainly is content.
When it comes to content, it sure is content.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that where it's just like, it's like the YouTube equivalent of like a procedural, where it's like, this certainly is something that I can put on while I'm doing something else.
And I like to know what's going on with Kofi Kingston, you know?
Of course.
Anyway, that's YouTube talk. We need I guess we need a YouTube segment title now.
Talking about how we're both like big Jake Paulers.
I mean, I am half of Jake Paul. My uncle is the other half of Jake Paul.
Yep. My last name almost sounds like Paul. It's every day, bro. That's all I'm saying. Did you get that reference?
Is that a Jake Paul thing?
Yeah, Jake Paul's catchphrase, I guess, is "It's every day, bro."
What does that mean?
You know what it means? It means that it is every day, bro.
Okay, I know we just got done talking about wrestling, but this is somewhat related. The Usos' whole thing now is since day one, or like day one-ish.
Yeah, day one shit, yeah.
Yeah. But their shirts say since day one-ish, which means like they got started around day one. And I think that's all I can think about anytime they're in a match.
Nobody likes a pedant, Jake.
You know what?
You fucking nerd.
Fucking sue me. Fucking sue me, Vince McMahon. Anyway, kicking a man's ass chose to take fishing gear over spices, which makes sense, because why would you pick spices if you have nothing to put them on?
Survivor players think spice is too spicy.
Totally.
So a version of Survivor where everyone is just eating unseasoned baked chicken breasts.
You know what? If Kelly Wentworth had been on the winning tribe there, she would have picked spices, because she hates
If
rice.
Kelly Wentworth had her way, we'd all be eating. Me, you, and everyone you love would be eating unseasoned chicken breasts.
She's so mean.
We can't let that happen.
Remember when people talked about headcanons?
No.
Remember that website Tumblr?
Yeah, I was gonna say I know what you're talking about, but I feel like this was less a part of my life than it was of yours.
That's fair. I'm very big into Doctor Who. Also, the New Year's Day episode of Doctor Who, very good. The whole season with Jodie
that
Whittaker
show
is very good.
sucks ass. Don't talk to me about it.
Okay. Anyway, I forgot why I brought it up.
You suck. Because you're an idiot.
Okay, over on Manchester United. War Dog targets Keith instead of Kelly or Wendy because he is a liability in challenges, but Keith has instilled his trust in Chris, so now Chris wants Wentworth out. Oh, headcanon. I have a headcanon now that Kelly Wentworth is like a mean babysitter.
Yeah, I have a headcanon too. It's called a gun that I'm going to shoot you with if you don't stop talking about this. Dude, Kelly Wentworth is like Harry Potter. Kelly Wentworth should be the new Doctor.
Kelly Wentworth should not be the new Doctor. She's not even British. Also, Jodie Whittaker is on for at least one more season. Jodie Whittaker's
prejudiced against Americans
to
say that the Doctor can't be American. This is look. Stephen Moffat has already been. Yeah, look.
I know you've turned your back on Doctor Who, but watch the Jodie Whittaker season. It's quite good.
I was pleasantly surprised to see Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but also like they just had one of my favorite actors as the Doctor, and it didn't make me want to see it at all.
Well, yeah, but also that was the end of Stephen Moffat's run.
Oh, is he not doing it anymore?
He is out of there.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Also,
was he basically like, I'll put a woman in the role over my dead body, and they were like, okay.
I don't know about
probably
that.
not. He probably just was done, and then they were like, well, we can finally do this.
Yeah, I think that was more the case. And then this new guy who took over, Chris something. I
just yeah, it's like there was I feel like the only time that I ever was really that not even enthusiastic, but was the appeal of Doctor Who was particularly like real to me was when it was just really dumb campy shit.
Yes.
So like the David Tennant era basically, and even then like I feel like about half the episodes I didn't care about. And then also the fandom sucks, and I don't want to be associated with them.
That's fair. The new showrunner or head writer, I don't know what the difference is, brought on like almost an entire, I don't know if 100%, but like a lot of new writers, and it is the first writing staff in the history of this show to have any people of color.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You're telling me that like an incredibly British show was just a bunch of white people? I don't believe it.
And the companions, oh my god, I'm the biggest fan of this show and I forgot.
Jake, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I have heard as much as I care to hear. Let's talk about a show I do watch. I don't want to talk about shows I don't fucking watch.
Do you know how long it took me to get you to watch Survivor, Thomas? It took me like 10
I've watched.
or 15
Okay,
years.
Here's the difference, Jake. I hadn't watched Survivor before. I've watched Doctor Who.
That's fair. Okay.
I had the thing happen where someone showed me Blink, and I was like, "Oh, I guess this seems good. This is kind of like a fun Twilight Zone episode."
You know, you keep saying you don't want to talk about Doctor Who, yet you're the one
You
who's
won't let
bringing
it
it back
go.
up. When I'm over here trying to talk about how War Dog wants to keep Kelly around as long as possible and use her as a shield.
Somebody pointed out that War Dog has a Brooklyn Nets logo tattoo, which is hilarious to me.
Does he really?
He does. I mean, that's paying off now. The Nets are fun this year, but he must have gotten it when they were bad.
That's great.
True loyalty.
Hey, hustle, loyalty, respect, you know?
War Dog is just a big fan of Isaiah Whitehead. I'm trying to think of a player from when they were bad.
From the Brooklyn Nets? I don't know, when Jason Kidd was the coach.
He's a big fan of Brooke Lopez.
Sure. Kelly is nervous because she would vote herself out. Great. Thomas, guess what time it is.
Is it time for wildlife shots?
It's time for wildlife shots, baby. Okay, so we got some birds. We got a crab. We got, as I wrote in my notes, a black regular-sized bird with mohawk. Couldn't find what kind of bird it was, but I did look it up. We had a small fish, which looked like it was shot by like a GoPro they stuck to a rock underwater, which is a cool shot. It's like one of those sandpiper type birds, a parrot, a couple parrots actually. Your son, Roland the Bat. It's been a while since we've seen him.
He's back.
Got a spider, flies. That was gross. A snake, and a bird I don't think we've talked about yet, called a collared kingfisher.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So there are various kinds throughout the Asia and South Pacific region. They can be found in trees. They're about 9 to 12 inches long. The top parts of their body are blue or green, while the underparts are white, and then like they've got a white collar around their neck, which is where they get their name.
Characters welcome.
Yeah. That their typical call has been described as loud, harsh, and metallic.
Wow, this sounds like a cool bird that everyone likes.
They like to eat small crabs, and Thomas, let me tell you about my favorite fact about the collared kingfisher.
What's that, Jake?
They will sit motionless for hours, waiting for prey, and then swoop down when it sees something, then take it back up to a branch and hit it against the branch until it's knocked out and they can eat it.
Damn, that's hardcore.
Right? It looks like such a pretty bird. Okay. Anyway, that's the, what was it called? The collared kingfisher.
Do they call it a collared kingfisher because they wear polo shirts?
That's exactly the reason.
I knew it. I just needed to confirm.
A collared kingfisher is kind of what Jeff Probst looks like.
Hey.
He's got the collared blue shirt on all the time. And his neck is white. As is the rest of his body, but specifically his neck, because the bird... You get it. Okay, let's talk about this tribal council. Wentworth argues that she's a strong competitor that can be used as a shield, and Keith argues that this game should be about the relationships you build. That loyalty that you were talking about.
Somebody needs to Photoshop the hate you give poster to the relationships you build.
The what poster?
You know that movie, The Hate You Give?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know. I don't really remember anything about it, but I remember that name.
Yeah, I something civil rights related. I think it's. I don't know.
It's the original Green Book.
I haven't seen. No, it's not like that. I haven't. I think they did have the actress from it along with John Lewis read the thing about Green Book for the Oscars because they're like, we're not racist. We promise. We got John Lewis here.
Ugh. Okay. That's a very cool thing.
Which is also funny because the NFL also did that. Before
Why would
the
you
Super
think
Bowl.
the NFL is
like,
racist?
Yeah, it's like, look, we don't have a problem with this. Haven't you seen that John Lewis is here? Don't pay no mind to the settlement we just paid to Colin Kaepernick.
Oh God, is he coming back?
He might sign somewhere. Eric Reed, who is the guy that was doing the protest with him originally in San Francisco, who I think was going to go in on the lawsuit against the blacklisting lawsuit or whatever, but finally the Panthers signed him. They just re-signed him to an extension. So he's on a roster. I wouldn't be surprised if Cap ended up somewhere.
Yeah, whoever gets that, whoever signs him is going to have a lot of cameras pointed their way. I don't know what I'm saying. Who talks like that? I mean, good for them.
There were no stars in the sky because they were all pointing cameras at Colin Kaepernick.
I think that's great. Good for them that they're, like, you know, succeeding. But also, like, I don't don't go back into the NFL, you guys.
Yeah, that's the thing is, there's a good chance that I think he does want to play football, but there's a good chance. I mean, considering how the amount of money he just got from that settlement, like I think he might just live off of that.
Colin Kaepernick. Did you know that Colin Kaepernick is an anagram for CM Punk? That's because they're the same.
I did not know that. That's good to know.
The same. They're the same person.
Thank you for telling me.
Thanks for listening to this show, guys. You want to talk about this vote?
Yeah, whatever.
Kelly, Keith, Wendy, Keith. So he goes to the fork in the road and has a really hard time deciding if he'll go or not. Back at the edge of Extinction, Reem says that if no one shows up, she may have to raise the flag. Do you think Keith's gonna go for it?
I don't know, man.
He's gotta, right? Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's gonna go for it.
No, I didn't like that. What's it called? A cliffhanger.
Yeah, I feel like you should just tell me whether they're gonna be there or not. There's too
Right.
many people get eliminated for this to be a cliffhanger every time.
Right, and like that decision isn't really like an established decision. So like when somebody breaks from it, it's not really surprising because it's like I don't know. I didn't care for it.
Who
but
knows?
I'm not a producer on the show, so what do I care? Anyway, do you want to talk about points?
Let's talk about points.
I got some points this week. You got a point for Kelly surviving, a point for Joe surviving. Another ass was kicked for the reward, which was won by Kama, and the immunity challenge was also won by them, so you got 2 points for that. And we don't know if the person voted out goes to Extinction or not, so we don't get any points for that. But so you are now at 10 points. I got a point for David surviving, for Aubrey surviving, got a point for Kama surviving the reward and immunity challenge. So I got 10 points. I also got a point for them taking the fishing gear. Remember?
Yeah,
Remember?
no,
I said that.
You did say fishing gear. That was a good call on your part.
Thank you. I also said that Keith would be voted out, and he was, so I'm now at 12 points. How you feeling right there, Thomas?
Still early.
Okay, just saying. Who's gonna win the next reward challenge?
I'm going to say that Kama is going to win the reward challenge.
I am also going to say that Kama is going to win the next reward challenge. What will that reward be, though, Thomas?
They haven't done food yet, which makes
Correct.
me think that it is
Yes.
going to be food.
Yeah. I was going to say, they got fishing gear. That's not food.
I'm
Fishing
going
gear
to say
is not
there are
food.
going to be eggs.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I want to pick something different, but I think you might be right. Wait, how many people are left? They started with 18, so there's 16 left. I'm going to say I'm removing fuck it, no, I'm not saying that. Reward tools to build a shelter, I don't care. Who's winning immunity?
Now that I stopped saying tools to build a shelter, it's definitely going to be tools to build a shelter.
I really hope it is.
Look,
here's the
Jake,
rules.
I am gonna.
Here's the rules, Thomas. I think we need to go over the rules again.
Okay.
Of the predictions portion. Rule number 1: you can't pick Allison at the merge. Sorry. And number 2,
Don't tell me what I can't do.
we established that rule last season. You can't pick Allison at the merge.
Who says who?
Says us like 6 months ago.
Michael Cohen voice says who?
Rule number 2: somebody's got to pick tools to build a shelter every time.
We're required to. I can't pick tools to build a shelter because I have to pick that they're gonna meet the Toronto Raptors and also Aubrey Drizzy Drake Graham.
Is that what you're picking now?
Not this time, but I will.
Okay. Who's winning immunity?
Jake,
What
I
happened to
am
my
going
voice there?
to shock you by saying I think Manu. This is the week Manu wins immunity.
Static Shock. What the fuck are you talking about? Kama's winning immunity.
We'll find out. They
Next week,
got rid of
Survivor.
they got rid of maybe their weakest person in challenges. So
That's true. They did do that, but also, Kama has a resume of kicking men's asses, and
it's true. That's why they're called that.
They also have Joe and Chris, who are two of the most athletic guys on the season. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be Kama until they swap. Who's getting voted out though?
Who's the woman that's like a career woman?
Julie? No, wait. Who are you talking about?
The one that was like, "Hey, we should be out looking for idols instead of talking."
I think that was Julie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Julie.
Okay. I'm going to say Kelly Wentworth.
Okay.
All right, and we're still waiting on that point from Keith from last week. If
Come
he
on,
goes or
Keith. We
not.
need this.
We both said he would go.
Give me this point.
Um,
It doesn't change the difference in the score at all, but we need to know.
it's just satisfying to get a point. I do sometimes like look over what we guessed last week before watching the new episode. Or like I'll keep track as I'm watching to see how many points we're getting. Rather
I
than
gotta know.
telling them
I
at
like
the
to
end.
find out. Like, I'll remember sometimes what I picked, but I prefer to find out.
Yeah. If I'm like not engaged with an immunity challenge or something, I'll check to see who I should be rooting for. Are they going to go to the Extinction edge? Whoever gets voted out.
I think that everyone is going to at least try it, so yes.
I'm also going to say yes. I figure we're going to keep saying yes every time, but
I could see. I'm wondering if they're gonna change up the rules for that when the merge comes. But
right. I think the idea is there's going to be a challenge at the merge, and somebody makes it back in, and then the rest are gone.
yeah, that seems like what they would do. Yeah, because I mean, post merge, I don't think you can have that.
Right. I can't imagine they let them stay there the whole... Yeah, they must. Yeah, they must. Yeah, that's the whole point of the season. So even if Reem is still there at the merge and she loses the challenge, she can still go back to the island, I think. And then there's another one at Final 6 or something.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
That might be what they do, but I don't think it would be good if they did that.
Well, I'm just saying, if they do something at the merge, that's really going to affect how they play post-merge. I don't remember what we're... Oh! If we're going to say if they go or not. To, after getting voted out, if they go to the island.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, if they do it post merge, that might be the time that some people don't. But I don't know. I just feel like
I think that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but I feel like everybody. If you keep it going that long, I think everybody's going to hang around. So I don't know. I don't think they should.
That's the hope of the producers. Yeah.
That's so overcomplicated, though. Like at a certain point, that game is just not skill based anymore. It's like, well, you don't actually get eliminated. I mean, that's kind of what happened on the challenge, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Like the fact that those guys could just go to the like redemption house or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Where you'd eliminate someone and it'd be like, well, they're just gonna come back later. Like, didn't that happen with bananas?
I mean, yes, that when it happened to Bananas, I mean, it happened to like every team last season, but the first time, the big time it happened to Bananas was Battle of the X's 2, and then Sarah eliminated him, which caused them to become rivals in Rivals 3, and then, you know, all the rest of that. So that was, but like back then, that was a big deal because it was like, it so rarely happened, and then this last season, it was like every 3 eliminations, another team comes back.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So they're not doing that this season, which is great, and this is a great time to get into what did happen this week on the channel.
Oh, yeah, please do.
You didn't watch it?
I did not watch it.
Man, this season's really shaping up to be something special. Okay, so, like, they finally listened to their audience and were like, oh, we're fucking with the format too much? All right, here you go. Here's a challenge. Here's the voting. Here's the elimination. There you go. And it's so satisfying. They had the challenge. They had to jump from a swinging pole thing and then hit a bell in the air. The winning teams were Hunter and Georgia, Polly and Natalie D, and Nani and Turbo. This is Polly's second season ever, and it's his second season in a row where he has partnered with somebody named Natalie.
I like that you said Polly and Natalie D because it made me think that it was Polly D and then, like, his wife.
Headcanon. That's not a good headcanon.
Is anything? The answer to that question is no.
Fair. So they put up Kyle and Maddie, Josh and Amanda, and CT and Julia. They then go to the killing floor, which is what the elimination arena is called this season. They vote in Kyle and Maddie, who then call out Natalie and JP to face them, who then get to pick another team because this is a double elimination, and they call out CT and Julia, which means it's a triple threat match with one winner. One winner stays in the game. There's a women's
scheduled
heat.
For one fall.
Exactly. There's a women's heat and a men's heat with individual winners, which means the winners could form a new team. It's pretty exciting, huh?
It's exciting stuff.
Maddie wins the women's round, and Kyle wins the men's round, which means a new team was not formed. But
Love it when there's a point to all of the all of the complicated rules.
So CT is now out after Bananas and Ashley, who are like 3 of the staples of the challenge. So, like, the only legendary challenger who is left is now Wes.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that Wes is still there.
Yeah. It's his to win.
I mean, he's already basically won. I'm sure he's already accomplished the one thing he wanted to do, which was outlast Bananas, so.
Yeah. Outlasting CT is just icing on top. That's it. That's the challenge for this week. Pretty good season. Pretty good season so far. Oh, my mom texted me about Survivor. Let's see what she had to say about that. Okay. She says, I saw the guy get voted out last time. Can't remember his name, but he was praying to Jesus at the end. I guess he was trying to decide if he should continue with the game or quit. Am I caught up? I may have missed this week's episode. Maybe I should have read this text earlier. I'm texting her back right now. Hopefully she'll text back before the end of the show. I'm saying that, yeah, that was this week's. Great new segment.
You should gaslight your mom and say, no, that was not.
That would be such a funny
That's never happened on this show. What are you talking
Nobody's
about?
Nobody's ever prayed on this show. Okay. Heroes vs. Villains 2 is right around the corner. Hopefully, season 40 is starting up soon. People are thinking Richard Hatch is going to be on it. People are thinking Spencer is going to be on it because he's been like super active on social media and has been saying I know I've been gone for a long time. I'm back, but I'm going to be gone for a long time again soon. Bless you. And then he's like, no, actually, my dad is sick. So I don't know what's going on with that. But he might be on. So something's happening. Let's hope it's Heroes vs. Villains 2.
We can only hope.
Well, we could also tweet at other people.
We can only tweet.
We can only tweet. Tweet at the people who make decisions in the show. You know who they are. Not us yet, but maybe if we get Heroes vs. Villains 2 trending, Jeff Probst will be like, who started this trend? It was me, Jeffrey. I started this trend. Make me a producer on Survivor. I don't even want to play anymore. I just want to make the show. Do you want to make a cake or you want to eat a cake? You want to make a cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something like that.
Anyway, you can follow us on Twitter at DYWSLN. We'll be promoting that hashtag, which is HVV2. A lot of initials on this show. You can follow me at Jake Scheidel. JTS is my initials.
You can follow me at Tom Not Tom. TNT is not my initials.
TMP is your initials.
You didn't need to say that.
Why? Everybody knows your name.
Strictly need to know basis.
Everybody knows that Thomas's name, his real legal name,
Jake,
is Thomas.
You've been doing that thing on the shows where like they pitch people's voices down to hide their identity for me for this entire podcast, right?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought I don't listen to it, but I just assumed that you were doing that.
Thomas's
like how I always assume that you bleep out my name.
Fuck you. Okay. Here's the thing. Thomas's legal name is Thomas, middle name Powell.
I can't believe you would dox me like this. You son of a bitch. You know who would never do this? Would never dox me.
I don't know if that's true.
John Cena's would never dox me.
Wow, you haven't done that one in so long. Okay. Thomas, my mom did text me back.
That's good.
Here's what she said. I'm at a bridal show until 5 o'clock. Ugh, time is dragging.
I love it. This is my new favorite. Fuck wildlife shots. This is my new favorite segment.
I'm so glad. It's very fun.
I just need updates from that and like what your dad is responding to on Facebook.
Oh, God. Okay, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I took a screenshot of Facebook where my dad commented 3 times on one of those like, I bet you can't do this, and the prompt was, name a word in English that starts and ends with the letter T.
And I also think that post is like something like a boomer idea of like a fun like joke or whatever, because the word that is in the prompt.
Maybe that's the joke.
That's what I assumed, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna fall for that. And then your dad responded to it 3 times. There are a lot of words that start and end with T. It's not that hard. I did like tumult was a good one though. I like that your dad was like, what are words that like would be good Scrabble words?
He is constantly thinking of Scrabble words. My dad fucking loves Scrabble.
Yeah, your dad is very much that type of person. But as I said on Twitter, the fact that he didn't choose toilet is very disappointing to me.
And he may have. I didn't bother to look at the other 2 comments. I just saw the one they previewed. But there were 406,000 comments on that.
Talent.
Can you imagine if
Tilt?
everyone... Tim Allen. All right, well, you can review us on Apple.
Tim Allen is when you're able to do the Tim Allen grunt from Home Improvement.
I can't remember if I said it during the show or before we started recording, but at some point I said the boilerplate review. So listen for that. It might go over the end theme song, which is what song again, Thomas? New season, new songs.
The theme song for now is Extinction by Parquet Courts, is it not?
It is indeed. And the intro is Edge of 17 by our good friend from Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks.
I like that I got both excited and was disappointed because I couldn't remember if we had done that or Edge of Glory.
Yeah, I think Edge of Extinction. Oh my god.
Because every time that I think about this season, I do the Edge of Glory chorus, but just with Extinction instead of Glory.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are probably doing that, though.
Yeah,
and
so we're
kind of
being
like
different. We're thinking differently. We're like the Apple of podcasts.
We're the Steve Jobs of the Survivor podcasts.
We're like the Apple Podcasts of podcasts.
We're the Apple Podcasts of Survivor podcasts.
We're like the Apple of podcasts of Apple Podcasts.
Have a great summer.
Deuces.
Making a distinction between life and law. Arts favor the former when you wear a mask. Masochism forming in the reflection, and I'm trying not to turn into a psychopath.
You ever? I guess I've got more going on over here than you do at your area. But whenever we start recording, I'm always like, oh, I forgot all these things. Like, I forgot to pull up the notes. I forgot to put my notebook next to me so I can keep track of things. I'm just a very forgetful guy, you know?
I feel like half the time that I pick up, I forget that I have to put headphones on, and so I always have to do that. And then I forget that I can't open Audacity before plugging my microphone in, otherwise I won't recognize it. It is really annoying. So you know, I also. It's just some relatable humor there.
It's really relatable.
Is all I'm saying.
I have said this is the most relatable Survivor podcast of all the podcasts. So, Sam.
Could you also say that you like it better than all of the other podcasts?
I like all of the other podcasts. I give it a big thumbs up. Like, yeah, maybe we don't get Coach to come on and talk about a captain season because he was on one. Okay, fine. Maybe Jessica Lewis isn't the co-host of the podcast. Okay, fine. But we are the most relatable podcast, you know?
I'm on the edge of extinction.